Greetings everyone. This is a quick promo before the video begins. If you're new to the channel and you didn't know it yet, I am actually an author in addition to being a YouTuber, and I have 2 books that you can get on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Kaiju Wars Part 1 and The Occult Mafia. The first is sort of a bizarre, absurdist kaiju anime mashup, and the other is a horror noir story with a hint of a western thrown in there. They're both set in the same universe, and at this point have received mostly positive reviews, so you might want to check them out. I've provided Amazon links for both of them down in the description. They're both available in either paperback or Amazon Kindle, and Operation Red Dragon is also available in audiobook form. So if either of these strike your fancy and you want to support a struggling artist, feel free to go down and check out either one or both of them. Alright, the shameless self-promotion is out of the way, we can get on with the video. Thank you all for your support. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and welcome to Non-Moving Pictures, where we examine movie posters as art. A few years ago, I reviewed Reptilicus, the only giant monster movie to ever come out of Denmark. That's right, it was so bad that the entire nation collectively decided to never try again.
The movie is infamous among bad movie aficionados, and it truly is one of those so bad it's good disaster pieces. Go check out my original review if you'd rather get the condensed version. However, you would never guess that Reptilicus is a terrible movie based on the poster.
I mentioned it in the review, but I do think it's worth taking a closer look at.
Behold the Reptilicus poster. Anyone who has seen the movie can tell you that this whole image is lying to you. Nothing you see here is in the movie. Well, okay, if you really want to reach, you can say there is a large reptilian monster in the movie, and there is also a bridge, but neither one looks anything like what we see here. Reptilicus looks more like an Asian dragon than the pseudo-dinosaur puppet in the film, and I've never seen a suspension bridge that long in my life. Not to mention the taglines are full of untruths. I suppose it's possible an atom bomb wouldn't kill Reptilicus, but since none are used in the movie, I can't say that for certain. The greatest offense of all, though, is that it makes the movie look like something akin to a biblical epic, with thrilling action and incredible special effects. Anyone who has seen Reptilicus, though, knows this is not the case.
Okay, so we've established that the poster is lying. This isn't going to be another super negative one, is it? People didn't like it so much when you did that with Highlander. Actually, that was the only negative thing I had to say. I mean, sure it's inaccurate, but when taken on its own merits, this poster is actually a great piece of art.
First and foremost, the poster immediately draws the eye with its bright color scheme. Practically the whole thing is comprised of warm colors, most obviously yellow and reddish-orange. These colors demand your attention, yet they manage not to overwhelm the eyes. Maybe that's a personal thing for me, but I find that yellow can sometimes be a hard color to look at if it's too bright, but this yellow is just the right level that I can look at it without needing to squint. The only exceptions to the warm color scheme can be found on Reptilicus himself, who is colored green with heavy black shadows all along his body. Of course, the green is also somewhat on the yellowy side, but it's different enough from the background that he doesn't blend in, and the shadows also double as outlines. This is important, of course, since Reptilicus is supposed to be our focal point.
Speaking of which, the poster's composition and arrangement help make the monster the center point of the image, despite the fact that he's not actually centered.
You see, everything in the image somehow points towards Reptilicus. Suppose we start with the text at the top. Since it reads from left to right, as is common with the English language, reading it will naturally guide the eye towards Reptilicus' snarling face. But if we continued reading all the way to the bottom, that would get us to the ooey gooey title. That, in turn, directs our eyes towards the 2 humans having wardrobe malfunctions at the most inopportune of times. From here, we have 2 options for where the eye can go. Both humans are looking at something above them, so we can follow their line of sight directly to the serpentine complexion of Reptilicus. Conversely, we can follow the road behind them, which curves up and back, and then diverges again. We can either continue following the road proper until the break, which angles up and once again aims at Reptilicus' pretty smile, or we can follow the tower straight up until it ends at the arch in his neck, which once again curves down to, where else, that hideous saurian mug. Not only do all roads lead to Rome, but they also lead to the titular monster. Much like the original poster for The Mummy, this serves as a great example of an off-center focal point. Also worth noting are the odd patches of white surrounding our monster. Technically, they exist to further distinguish Reptilicus from the background, since the green and yellow could potentially blend in some places. That could easily have looked sloppy, like the artist didn't finish painting, but such is not the case. Instead, the white patches are rendered in erratic swirling patterns that give a sense of motion to the image. It works in tandem with the crashing waves and the crumbling bridge to make it look like Reptilicus is actually moving rather than just striking a pose. This even continues in the rest of the sky, which has a bit of a color variation that subtly hints at the idea of fire. It adds to the motion and the sense of destruction brought on by Reptilicus' arrival.
I suppose I ought to have specified earlier that this is the American poster for Reptilicus, as opposed to the Danish poster, which is slightly more accurate, but also just plain ugly.
Most people prefer the American poster, painted by Reynold Brown. This is a name any artist should know, for he painted some of the most iconic movie posters of the 50s and 60s. He had a good balance of realism and exaggeration in his style, and his image composition was always on point, as the Reptilicus poster exemplifies. If you want to know more about him, I recommend the biographical documentary The Man Who Drew Bug-Eyed Monsters, or the book Reynold Brown: A Life in Pictures, if you can find either one. Those do more justice for him than I can do here.
And thus we have a rare instance where the poster is better than the movie. Not that that's hard to do when the movie in question is Reptilicus. Still though, I think most film buffs will agree that this is a great piece of art that belongs on anyone's wall. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni viewer signing off. Next time, a request that brings us back into the world of Godzilla, specifically landing on a poster that my American viewers are probably familiar with.
If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, then go down to the description to find links to follow us on DeviantArt, Patreon, and Twitter. While you're there, you'll also find the Amazon links for the original novels Operation Red Dragon, The Kaiju Wars Part 1, and The Occult Mafia. 2 books I think you'll really enjoy. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.